Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? It is another episode of Should I Play That? This episode 49. We're almost at 50, guys. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Thanks for joining on the ride. We have Rod in the building today. Rod, what's going on, my man?
Oh, man. So excited, man. Episode 50 on the way.
Right around the corner. Super excited. And I don't know. I think I don't know if we're going to do something special or... I don't know. I think 50 is cool. I think we might. I want to celebrate like the whole 1 year of doing this thing consistent. Yeah. And I feel like this starting like in this year 2020, we're firing on all cylinders. So
yep.
I can't wait to see what else we do this year. But of course, we also want to thank you guys for tuning into the shows. Talking to us online, messaging, sharing, doing all that stuff. We really appreciate that. And if you don't know, we are on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube. All the same name. Should I Play That? And of course, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can tune that into. So, it's going to be a fun episode today. We have, I feel like the news isn't too bad like last week. We're going to talk about some games. I guess me and Rod, we both finished some games, so we're going to wrap up our thoughts on a couple of games. But we also have a special guest in the building today. We got Mike joining us today. Mike,
what is up, guys? What's up?
Mike, you're like a Renaissance man. Like you're an artist, you're a streamer, car enthusiast. Now you're trying to do some boxing on the side, man. I want to be like you, man. I'm trying.
I'm just trying to, as I get older, the more things you want to do that you haven't done back then, you just want to, feel that, you want to be able to like express yourself in different ways, that you couldn't even express back then, because now I have a little bit more free time and more freedom to it, So I'm not trying to be pro or a lot of things, but I'm just like, trying to have fun, so that way I won't have a middle-age crisis later on,
That's cool.
But thank you for having me, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Of course.
So we're going to go ahead and, I forgot to do this last week, but we're going to do some icebreakers to get, the Should I Play That family to get to know our guests a little bit more. Dang, I already forgot the questions I was going to ask you. Hold on.
That's okay, Chris. I got you on one of them at least. So Mike, what is, one of your favorite games of all time?
There we go.
Resident Evil. That's like the game that's like, stuck with me since I first played it back in the late 90s and early 90s, when first PlayStation came out, so I got scared. So it was the actual original tank control back then. That's what got me. So.
Okay. Nice. That's actually really interesting. That will play into my what you've been playing later. So that's pretty interesting to know that we got a vet on the cast today.
All right. We'll jump into the second question. What was your favorite game from last year?
Oh, I think everybody knows this. Resident Evil 2 remake. When that thing, when that was announced, December, was it 2017? No, 2018. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was September doing E3, right?
Yeah.
2018, yeah. When it was announced on E3, everybody was just like shocked, I was shocked. I was just like screaming, I was in my room, like, what? Holy shit! What? It's finally here, because the whole time they just been teasing us. I'm like, is this really gonna happen? Like, everybody was anticipating, was like, at least just give us some signs. Give us a little bit of tease. Doesn't matter if it's gonna come out the year next or 2 years after that. We just want to know it's happening, so. But yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we could sort of guess this next question. What is a game coming out this year that you're really looking forward to?
Come on, guys. It's a Resident Evil 3 remake. Oh my god, that is... I think after this, I'm ready to die. It's like, okay, I finally got to that point where we got all the remakes of that Resident Evil, so I don't think, they just Capcom just been doing really great this last 4 years, I guess. So it's amazing.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like I'm gonna be really excited for. I feel like they're gonna do 4. They're gonna remake 4.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
They can remaster 4, but I don't think they should do a remake because it's perfect on its own. There's a big debate about that. When I've been like looking at because I always watch YouTube videos of like Resident Evil stuff when I'm at work because I have that time to when I'm working I can watch videos. And I'm just like listening, and people are like, they shouldn't do. It's a mixed review of it. They should either they do it or they don't. But there's more people saying that they shouldn't remake 4.
I was like, where do you stand on that?
I say they just leave it on its own because it's a masterpiece that it shouldn't be, and it's still, it's the graphics not bad, it still holds up right now. So, what about you? Where you guys stand on that?
Rod, what about you? Where you stand?
I'm definitely with Mike on that. I don't think they're remaking 4 at all. In fact, I mean, if you really look at what they're doing with, or what they did with Resident Evil 2 and what they look to be doing with 3, I mean, they're basing those games off of the sensibility of 4, 4, 5, and 6. So those are very specific experiences, and I mean, I'll talk about it a little bit shortly, but I mean, with Resident Evil 2, it's such a melding of the old style of Resident Evil with the post-4 releases. So I don't think, like Mike said, I think 4 is the masterpiece. I think that's the crown jewel of the franchise. And I mean, that thing is, you could play that anywhere at this point. It's on absolutely everything. And it still looks pretty good on its own.
I agree with you. I agree with you there, Rob.
You see, I'm a little different. Like Capcom, any rep of Capcom, listen. I'm throwing my money right now.
Hey, don't throw about throwing money. I'm throwing money on I told my friend Nan, I told him look, I know I'm trying to save money, but if ever, this is before they released the news about Resident Evil 3 remake. They're like, if ever Resident Evil 3 remake announces that they're gonna do that, I'm gonna get that collector's edition no matter what. And a month after that, it dropped. I was like, wow. It's like, none, I'm going to go get that collector's edition. So, and to be honest, it's only like $180.
That's not bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The remake 2, it was I've spent like $250 on that.
Jeez.
I know. Right. But this one is the same scale as the Leon Kennedy statue. It's $180. So I was like, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. I'll go ahead and, buy that. So I'm waiting for that April. Can't wait.
It's right around the corner.
And I'm so happy.
All right.
Did you guys order it though or no?
Oh, yeah, no.
Well, see, that's the reason why I guess not as big as an Eagle fan as I am, man. But yeah, it's amazing. You guys are gonna love it if you guys would have bought that. But I guess it's not a lot of people can get it now because I think it's sold out. So.
Oh yeah, I was reading that. Yeah, it's in high demand right now, which is cool. I mean, it's a surprise to Capcom. They were saying, I think recently how much of the E3 2018 reveal was such a surprise for them when they first showed off Resident Evil 2. It was just a pleasant surprise for it to be so anticipated, and they apparently were trying to get it off the ground for years, and to just kind of see it not only be received well, but for the game to actually be really good is pretty satisfying, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And they actually nominated a lot in what was that? Video Game Awards.
Oh yeah.
Was it last year? Yeah, it was. Yeah, December. They were nominated in the best game of the year as well. But I'm glad that Sekiro actually won the thing because their originality is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh my man.
Chris saw me playing that game. I was just dying after death. I was like, okay, 2 hours of dying. It can get tired after a while, but congratulations to them. And I'm happy that, I don't want to get off topic, but it's just what do you call that game? The game that everybody anticipated, but there's mixed reviews.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're nominated Game of the Year, but I was just like, you guys just came out last month. Like why, So that's why I'm just happy that Sekiro won that one,
I think for Death Stranding, it resonated with a lot of people where if once they got in once they dove into the story, they're able to overlook how simple, not even gonna say simple, but how the game was just sort of set up. So the whole joke was Death Stranding is the UPS simulator. To a lot of people, it's actually more than that. So I feel like on this show, we step back and we like to hear why people like certain games. We don't, talk down on, games because at the end of the day, you're playing games to have fun. You're playing games to it's an escape for a lot of people.
That is true.
Yeah, there's no need to, shame people for liking a certain game.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm just saying I was just wondering why it was nominated Game of the Year, but when they just came out a month ago before the awards. So I was just confused. I was like, oh, I don't know if that should how it works or,
Right.
But I think I'm going to pick up a copy later on when it becomes cheaper,
But all right, so we can actually go ahead and jump into our next segment, which is what you've been playing, and that's exactly what it sounds like. This is a segment we're going to go ahead and talk about what we've been playing over the past couple of weeks. So we're going to start off with, I guess, Mike.
All right.
What you been playing?
I've been playing, what is this? What's that game? Detroit Become Human. And before that, I played, what was that? The game, the one with Ellie or something?
Oh, Last of Us.
No, not that one. It's the same maker of that. What was it? Is this right here? Hold on. Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I've been playing those. I've been really, I love those kind of games because you get to pick their outcome, their endings, you get to do their decisions, and it's immersive because it's you're actually playing as them, and you get really connected with the characters. When I played Beyond Two Souls, I was like, okay, this is amazing. And then next thing you know, it's wow, that hurt, when some stuff happened. And then when I played Detroit Become Human, that game is just so perfect. When I failed some of the tasks that I've been given in one of the segments there, I was just I couldn't even pass that. I was like, okay, you know what? I have to go back a few segments because I didn't want to have to mess up something here. We got to mess up a lot on one of that characters, and for some reason, each characters has their own different kind of way of when you're understanding their decision making. So it's messing me up. I'm okay with Kara, but with this character Connor, it's different. I was just oh, okay, so they think differently. So the way you judge their decision is you have to think differently as well, just like them, I haven't even finished the game, but I'm planning to finish that sometime this week. So, but yeah.
So of the three games, because I think you just said, was it Beyond
Two Souls?
Beyond Two Souls,
and Detroit Become Human.
Have you ever played Heavy Rain?
Yes. I didn't finish it, but it was a long time ago. It was what was it, PS3? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when it was on PS3. Yeah. But then again, before I played the Beyond Two Souls, I went ahead and watched the gameplay of the ending of the Heavy Rain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not, I mean, you don't have to play that, the other ones, but I like doing that kind of stuff as a gamer. Okay, I played the first one that came out, and then the second one, You know, it's because of the same people who made it. You know, the Heavy Rain was very emotional too. That game's very emotional. It's crazy. It connects with a lot of people who have that kind of problem, and I feel like the Beyond Two Souls. Oh, no, not that one. The Heavy Rain setting is almost like the same setting as Detroit Become Human. It had a feel to it because it was like in that kind of like city.
Kind of like a dark, rainy noir type thing. Or?
Yes, that one. Yeah. So it's maybe not the same, but I was just like, I had the feeling, I was like, man, this is like Heavy Rain, you know, just like the setting of it, you know, the place and all that cloudy, and it was just like gloomy, you know. So it's amazing, you know. And I'm planning to get the Man of Medan. Is that how you say it? Mm-hmm. You guys heard that game? That's another one too. So I like scary games like that, man.
I was saying, let me know when you get that, because I picked it up I think a couple months ago, and just never played it. Just haven't played it yet, so I still have it in my backlog. And I know that's one of the games that you could do like a I think it's a mode. What is it? I think it's like a mode where it's like a horror movie night or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, we should totally do that. We should stream it. See how that's.
I'm down for it, man. As long as it's in a weekend, I'm down for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else?
I bought a game recently when I was playing that. I think I have it here. No, wait. It's the people who made Yakuza.
Say Rod, he's just got triggered.
I'm rubbing my hands together right now, just going like, all right, let's do this. Let's talk about this. Are you referring to Judgment?
Yes, that one.
Yes.
I've seen the gameplay. It looks really interesting. I've never played Yakuza series, but that game, when I was like looking at the gameplay, I was just like, this is like really fun to like stream this game. You know, it's like, you can go around the city, solve crimes or problems, but you know, lately the games I've been playing is, pertains to like decision making. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older, I don't know. It's part of growing up, you know?
All right.
But it's really interesting because at the same time it's cinematic, and at the same time it's a game. So I was like, whoa, I'm getting 2 in 1, you know?
Right. No, it's absolutely that sort of experience. So, you have not played a Yakuza game before, right? That's what you said?
The what? The Yakuza? No, I haven't. I know of it. I just never played Yakuza.
Okay, so what they do really, really well is that they do exactly what you just described, is that they create a gameplay experience that's extremely varied, so you never really get bored. I mean, the moment-to-moment combat is the same throughout all of the games, but like there are tons of mini games around the city that you can do, so you can go like fishing. Well, you can't fish in Judgment, but like in any of the other Yakuza games, you can like fish and you can play pool and you can go to like the clubs to talk to girls, and you can what else can you do? You can just literally do anything. Play, I think you could play pinball in Judgment. I don't even know if you can do that in the other ones. There's just, it really does feel like a life simulator in Japan, and I'm not sure, you may be aware of this already, but the city that the game Judgment and the Yakuza series is based in, which is Kamurocho, is actually based on a real life Japanese city, where it's actually photorealistic. So if you go on like Google, or there are actually specific sites that have actually taken direct pictures of the city it's based off of and put it side by side along the game, and it's almost indistinguishable. Like it's so perfect. So it's really like you're getting a slice of Japanese life. I mean, obviously it's like way more wacky in these games, but it's really endearing and it's fun. And like you said, you are kind of getting 2 in 1. You're getting that great gameplay experience, and you're also getting a really kick-ass story, especially in Judgment. You're going to be introduced to so many different characters, and the main plot line is just really compelling. I think that you'll really, really enjoy it.
The way you said it, I can even wait to play it, you know. I'm glad I picked the right game, because it was, you know, I was like looking for a different game that was like, okay, I want to pick a game later on to like stream, but because I guess I'm like 70% done with the Detroit Become Human.
Right.
And I saw that game. I remember watching it on YouTube. I was like, what was that game? And then I started researching. I was like, oh, it's that Judgment. Okay. It looks, the graphics amazing. The story, I watched like a little bit of preview of like what's happening there. So I was like, wow, it's something I would really enjoy. And especially to what you said, I was like, I can't even wait to like, play that right now. So.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Maybe you have to play it and come back on the show and tell us about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can do that.
And take your time with the side quests. Side quests are really good in those games.
Oh, I take my time all the time. People see me playing Resident Evil 2. I'm not a, what do you call it, like speed runner, So I was just like, no, I bought this game. I like to have fun. That's how I am as a gamer. To be honest, I'm bad doing speed run because it's like, I know you have to like practice all the time. I can't get like rank S or whatever. I'm just like, if I'm gonna do that, I'm literally have to practice before I, actually go for it,
Yeah.
What do you call it? They, I don't know if I should confess about this, but I'm like, okay, it's on PlayStation Network, okay? It was for sale. It was like $3. You can unlock everything in Resident Evil 2.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah. That's funny.
I was like, I mean, I don't have, it's not that I can't do it. It's like, nowadays for us, we don't have time for it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but we don't have time for it. And I want to play everything in Resident Evil as far as like, okay, well, I want to play having unlimited ammo and all that stuff. So, you know what? It's $3. Go for it. I'll buy it. I haven't even played it since. I've never played it yet because I got busy because I went to work again after the Christmas break. I had 2 weeks Christmas break, so it was splendid.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I know. It was paid Christmas break, so I was like, yeah.
Nice.
But with Resident Evil 3 coming out, of course, I'm going to play through that, without cheats or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
And this buyable cheat or whatever was after a year, then they finally released it because I think it's part of the game. They're just kind of like trying to make money out of people. It is part of the game. If they had, how you say it? Because back then they have, in Resident Evil 2, they were like, they saying that you could like type in codes for it.
Yeah, like a lot of those old school games.
Was it Resident Evil 2 or Code Veronica? I don't know.
I remember some of those games having like like codes and stuff like that to unlock like weapons or unlimited ammo.
Yeah,
I think some of them, like if you beat the game in like a certain time or like getting certain things, you would unlock like having a rocket launcher at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, like the Resident Evil 3 had the mercenaries. I enjoyed that because I mean, like you have a chance as long as you can survive for how long you can, you'll be rewarded for anything. I was able to unlock all that stuff, like unlimited ammunition, which unfortunately, they're not going to have it on Resident Evil 3 Remake.
Well, you never know. They might make it where you can go ahead and unlock it if you buy
it. Right? After a year or something.
Yeah, like Capcom, they're like, hey, if you're giving us money for it, we will take it.
Yeah. And like I said, Capcom is really doing good lately, and because they've been listening to their customers, their consumers, their fans. Whereas EA has just been like, they've been trying to take people's money. I'm just like, look, you guys are great people. It's just like, just listen to the players, because the players are the ones that are important. Without the players, there's no market for them. So.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's bookmark that thought because that's something that we're gonna talk about later in the show with that topic for tonight. But, so Heavy Rain, Detroit, you said Judgment,
judgment.
Those are really solid games.
Oh
really
yeah, they are.
Games.
Definitely are.
All right, so Rod, I know you've been completing some games. You've been wrapping up some storylines.
Yeah, I've played like 6 games like in 2 weeks. It's crazy.
Jeez,
Six
Rod,
games in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Are you just playing or streaming it?
Oh, just playing on my own. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Man.
Rod, what you been playing, Rod?
Okay, so I had some time to strap on the old Oculus Quest and get through pretty much the 2 of the 3 titles that I have at the moment. One of them being Super Hot. You guys already know I love my Super Hot. This did not disappoint at all. I mean, it turns out I had actually stopped playing maybe 80%, 90% almost of the way through the game, so I didn't have that much more to go. But that game just continues to fire on all cylinders, just from like minute 1 up until like the very, very end. And it's a beautiful game. Something I did not know you could do until literally the last level was that you can block bullets with melee weapons.
Yep.
Wait, is that Super Hot? The one that's like the VR thing that you can slow time, right?
Yeah, time moves when you move.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was a really good game.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's my favorite VR experience I've ever had. It changed like my perception of, I mean, like VR I always knew was cool, but it was like a little gimmicky to me until that moment. Then I was like, oh, okay, this is what VR is capable of. But yeah, I did not know you could block bullets. You could slice them with a knife. Did not know that. I went through almost the entire game and made it probably way harder on myself because I did not know that. I was in certain situations where they would give me like a hammer and a knife, and there'd be like 3 people around me, and I was like, why are you doing this? But I would just like kind of maneuver around with the quest. I can kind of do that. I can move around and like freely and like dodge with my body, and that's really satisfying. So I was really happy with that, and it seems like they have a lot of really cool modes at the end, so you can like do a level select, and you can like do an endless run mode, so like just enemies keep coming at you, so really neat stuff. That's not a game that I'm ever going to put down. I think I'll always go back to this thing, and I think it's a really good showpiece too, because it's not overwhelming.
I need to try that game. I've been meaning to try that game. I haven't picked up my VR in a while now. 'Cause my favorite game in VR, of course, here I am, Resident Evil 7. I mean, when my ex-girlfriend gave me that VR back then when she had her first Christmas here, so we bought each other, expensive stuff. Like I gave her Nintendo, Switch, and she got me the VR. So when we set up the VR for Resident Evil 7, I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'll do this. And I guess I didn't know how to set it up at the time. I hooked up everything, and I was just like seeing the VR in there. It's like, so am I just going to play this? Like, I'm like playing in a cinema. Like, it's not VR about this. Mm-hmm. And when I toggled VR mode, also there's a VR mode. When I toggled that thing, I was like, holy shit. What, like, it's amazing. It's like, this is the feature of the gaming. Yeah. And I couldn't believe. I was just like, whoa, I'm really in Resident Evil 7. And then fighting off like enemies is even like way scarier. I was like, okay, I'm fucking creeped out now. Especially Jack like trying to get you, hack and slash you, But I need to play the Super Hot. It's Super Hot, right? Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Super Hot. I need to remember that playing in VR now is like, it's amazing because it's immersive. I know you said you have Oculus, right?
Yeah, the Oculus Quest.
I've tried Oculus. For some reason, to me, PSVR is a bit more immersive. I guess I've heard people on YouTube, like when I'm watching them, that it really differentiates from different people, like which if they like Oculus or it's not like it's better than the other. Some people would prefer Oculus better than PS4, and then vice versa. For some reason, it's just some people just have different things about it. But they're both good things, Then I want the gaming to go in that direction even more.
Right. Yeah, and I think they're gonna get there too. I'm very, very interested, and I'm still beating that drum that PlayStation is gonna do a meeting in February. So hopefully they.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna be in E3 this year. That's what they announced too. They're having their own thing.
Yeah, that's right. So I think what they're going to do is what they did similarly with the release of PS4. I'm hoping that they will release a PSVR 2 close to launch, and maybe they talk about it at the meeting. And what I'm also hoping is that they implement room scale tech and
what's
wireless.
Room scale tech?
So room scale technology is basically where the headset allows you to create a play space around you. It allows you to define your own space. So if you have like a small apartment, then the game can kind of like recognize that, and it will actually prevent you from like breaking anything in your house, because obviously you can't see.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it with certain games, it can also kind of shrink the space or expand it depending on how small or large your space is. And so it works in a smart way like that. I'm also hoping for wireless integration as well, because I think that's a big game changer with the Oculus Quest, is that it's completely wireless as opposed to the. Yeah,
that definitely, because Oculus came out with wireless now, right?
Right, that's the Quest, and that's what I have. Yeah.
Man, they when I was paying attention on the PlayStation, like what they can do, PlayStation 5, they said that was like sometime last year. They were saying that it will be backwards compatible with PSVR on PS4.
Right. That's right.
So they said that what they claim, they said that the receiver, all that wire, goes to one receiver for PlayStation VR. It will be built into it. So all you have to do is just hook up we don't have so many wires coming out. You just have to hook up in one thing, and that's it. And even though if it's like that, I think it'll still be better. But like what you said, I hope that they would come out with a PlayStation 5 PSVR that's like wireless, or we can convert our wired PSVR into wireless. That would be amazing. That would be backwards compatibility right there.
Yeah, that would be good. That would actually be really
because then people who bought PSVR won't have to throw away their shit, because we can reuse that, just like how the Move, the sticks,
right.
You can actually use that from PS3, and I got that for cheap, That's all I'm hoping for PSVR when it comes to PlayStation 5, is that a way to actually reuse the PSVR from the PS4. Right. If that happens, then hey, even better.
Yeah, even better. Even better. Oh, speaking of being even better, there was another game I played on Oculus Quest I wanted to talk about just real fast. Vader Immortal. So, like, I actually really... I've talked about episodes 1 and 2 on a previous episode of the show. I finished episode 3, and I honestly think, like, this is a really, really solid experience. Like, again, I think that it is sort of like the more roller coaster ride that you could take, like, out of all the 3 titles that I have right now. Like, I think that's definitely the more, like, stereotypically VR experience, but like, in the sense that you kind of sit back and, like, let the game kind of, do with you what it will. But you do have a nice variety in the combat, and you get to learn things like with the Force, and that you get to have like little cool lightsaber tricks. Like, it's really, really freaking cool. So I'm actually really looking forward to kind of telling more people about this, and like kind of putting the headset on folks, and like letting them sort of go wild in it, because it's just something about swinging a lightsaber and having like that movie quality sound like kind of emanate from it that is really satisfying to me. So super, super cool. The story is kind of like, it's Star Wars stuff, so like not the best, but I mean, it's fine. Like, you kind of go to it because it's Star Wars, and who doesn't want to be in a Star Wars property at all.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean,
very
speaking of Star Wars lightsaber, what was that game? Beat Saber. Do you have that game?
Yeah. I do. Yeah, that's the other game I have. Yeah.
That game is amazing. I remember doing that. It's like, man, this is like doing a workout right now.
Yeah, it really is. You do like 5 songs in a row. Yeah, you'll be sweating a little bit for sure. I also finished another game. A third game this week that I finished was the Outer. I know. It's crazy, right?
It's crazy. I wish I got time like you when I'm playing, you know. It's like, Then again, you're not streaming it, so it gets even faster because you don't have to worry about setting up everything. You just literally just hook up and play.
Exactly. I finished the Outer Worlds finally. This was a game that I was really, really high on for the first, 10 or 15 hours, and I think it finishes throughout the entire run of this game. I think I played for maybe like 15, somewhere between 15 to 20 hours, I think, which isn't like especially long for an RPG, but that's perfect for me. That's like my perfect threshold, for a game. Like I don't want to play anything I'm playing over 20 hours. It's like I need to reassess what's happening, which is almost every Yakuza game, but it's fine because it's worth it. But I will say that the writing was really strong consistently with Outer Worlds. But I almost fell off with everything else. So, the combat was something that was never really all that great to me. I felt like, you get sort of like the same weapons from beginning to end. Like the combat was never super exciting. I never really felt like the time dilation was something I ever really used all that much. I even kind of got some of the upgrades for that, and it just never seemed all that useful. Just nothing was punchy enough. I feel like I may have said that before too on a previous episode, but like it just didn't feel like I was really like hitting people. Whether it was with a melee weapon or with like with an actual firearm. So that made encounters feel a little bit stale. And it wrapped up very quickly. I will say that even though I love the dialogue pretty much from beginning to end, the storyline kind of petered out after Monarch, which is about the halfway point in the game. And everything after that, it just felt like Obsidian was like, all right, we're out of time, we're out of budget, we gotta wrap it up right here. And that kind of felt a little disappointing. But it was overall though, a solid game. It made it on our bottom 5 for the top 10 of the year. And I feel okay with that because I think it could do better. I think an Outer Worlds 2 has the potential to be really, really special. Especially because like the side quests for your companions were really cool. Parvati is so great. I want her in pretty much all the games now. And her side quest was just fucking adorable. So yeah, I really loved that bit of it, but I am glad to kind of be done with the game, and hopefully the disappointments kind of get rectified with the next one, presumably, assuming they do a next one.
I'm sure they're gonna do another one. I mean, I heard like some good things about the game, and is it true that Outer Worlds supposed to be what they were supposed to have? Outer Worlds was like pretty much what was it? Fallout 70 something? Was it 76?
That was
the one that was like a train wreck.
Oh yeah,
it was supposed to be how the Outer Worlds should have been, but like, they didn't fix it like that. So when people who were like playing Outer Worlds were like the Fallout 76 people, gamers, and they're like, oh, this what Fallout 76 should have been, but it's just different title. Yeah. I don't know if you heard about that, but I've just been like, watching that when it was arising.
They're different companies. Obsidian, they made, I want to say it was like the original Fallouts, and then they did New Vegas. So those are the ones that they did. They then separated. They left and did their own thing. But yeah, I mean, like when the game came out, that was definitely like the talk on Twitter was, yo, this is what Fallout should have been. I mean, some people at some point, some people were like, yo, this is what Fallout 4 should have been like. So
yeah. Yeah, on that level, like, I agree in a lot of ways. Like, I do think it's a good game, and I don't want to make it sound like I don't think it's good, because I think it's solid. I think it turns into something that becomes mediocre, but I think it's not because, I mean, the world building is great, and I think the characters themselves are really fascinating, and again, the dialogue is phenomenal, and that, at the end of the day, that's what these RPGs, like, that's what the backbone is, right? Is like the writing. Yep. And so if that's strong, I think they have a really good foundation to build off of. I just hope that next time, like, we can maybe follow through for like the back half of the game, which I think could be fixed. That's something that can easily be rectified. Maybe a few more tweaks to the gameplay with, I think you can have a large variety of play styles, which is cool, and that plays into some of the things that happen, like, in the narrative. For example, if you play like a quote unquote stupid character, like, you get a very specific end option for yourself, which is really funny and clever. And I love that type of variety is cool. I think next time I do want them to maybe have the player stick to their own convictions, more than not, because like I mentioned before, there are too many times when a third kind of quote unquote good option appears. You don't really, like, it's possible to go through the game and, like, get, I think, what I would say to be a canonically good end. And I think that's what I got, just judging by, like, how my ending was. And I'm not spoiling anything here, but, the actual end being a slideshow was, like, really bizarre, to me. I was not happy about that. I was like, really? Like, it's a literal slideshow right now? So that was really strange, but, just weird decisions towards the back half, but I do think that, like, they're the idea, the blueprint for a really cool franchise is there. So hopefully we'll see that next time. And the last game I played this week was Resident Evil 2, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I guess, so far I think I'm halfway into the Leon campaign.
Did you go with Leon first?
I did. I went with Leon first. Okay. It felt, I mean, he was at the top of the menu, so I was like, okay, I'll play him first and then play Claire second, at least. Cause I did hear that I have to play it at least twice, to get a true ending, I guess. I don't know.
Well, yeah. It's what do you call it? Leon and Claire have a little bit, different, like, path they took.
Okay.
So the actual gameplay should be Leon first and then Claire first.
Okay. Yeah, I actually love that. Like, I'm a sucker for those type of games when, like, you get an option for several characters, and it's like the actual route that you take throughout the game is a little different. Maybe they come together at points, which seems to be happening right now. But like, you kind of get to see the other side of the person that you didn't pick, and I kind of love that. So, so far so good. I guess I'll save some of those thoughts, or some of my more in-depth thoughts for our discussion later in the topic. But, my immediate knee-jerk reaction is that this is a really good game. This is a really good Resident Evil game.
There you go.
Yeah. And so my brief history with Resident Evil is not extensive. Like, I've kind of dabbled in the first 3 games, on PlayStation. I played the 4th one to completion, and then I played 5, to completion. Unfortunately, I did not like 5 all that much.
I mean, I like 5. I like 5 too.
It was fun with a friend. With a friend, it was fine. And I did not play 6. So I've played I did not play 6 at all. And so I'm missing probably half the franchise, so I'm not like a huge Resident Evil fan or anything, but I can already tell, like, this is something, again, that seems to meld 2 very distinct styles of Resident Evil, because I think there's a pre-4 Resident Evil, and then there's a post-4 Resident Evil. And then, like, those are the kind of, like, 2 styles of game that I've always recognized the series to have. And then Resident Evil 2 seems to rectify that. It seems to kind of combine those and say, hey, we're going to give you a little bit of what you loved in the first 3, but give you, like, the modern sensibilities of, like, 4, 5, and 6. Like, you're gonna get to, like, play those games or play this remake like you would those games. So you get like the puzzles and you get the exploration aspect of 2, and it's not like a fast-paced game. Like, you can take your time, things are slow, you don't need to kill every zombie. Like, that's not the objective. In fact, just one zombie alone can be terrifying.
Oh yeah.
So like, I really, really appreciate things like that. So I'm digging it. I'm digging, and the game looks incredible. Like, what the hell are they using? I don't know. I don't know what engine they're using.
They're using RE engine.
Okay,
that's
so
their own kind of thing.
Okay, it's an in-house engine. Okay,
it's an in-house engine. It's, I guess, similar to Unreal Engine, but they made it differently a bit and call it RE engine.
That makes sense. It looks great. Like, honestly, it might be one of the best looking games from last year. To be honest, like, there's a scene like in the very beginning with a dude eating a burger, and I was like, that's a good fucking burger.
Oh yeah. Everybody got hungry when they're playing the first game round, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and I suppose we'll dig a little bit deeper into that later. But Chris, what you been playing?
Oh boy. All right. So, I finished Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and
wait, the new one?
Yes. So, yeah. So, it's, I want to say my end counter was maybe like just at 40, maybe like a little bit under 40 hours. So it's definitely a long game. I really, like, at some point I felt like, the presentation values of the game was so good that I legit felt like I was sort of like rewatching Dragon Ball Z all the way through. So, Cyber Connect 2, once again, they make the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games. So if you're similar to those type of arena fighter games, that's essentially what you're getting for the, fighting mechanics. Of course, it opens up into like these different hub worlds where you can move from like city to city or planet to planet. And like, it's, you know, Dragon Ball Z, like, in its core, like, it's, I want to say one of the best, like, retellings of, like, the whole Dragon Ball Z saga. So from, Raditz all the way to Kid Buu, you have all of that. You don't see any, like, you don't see any of the movie stuff. So it's like Dragon Ball Z at its core.
Well, the movie stuff isn't canon, right?
It's not. So, you know, I'm happy about that.
Yes and no, I think.
Oh, no.
I know the Brawly back then, that had already been like taken out by the new Brawly.
Yeah, so yeah, any of the movie things isn't considered like, you know, part of like the mainline story of Dragon Ball Z. So, they pretty much just stuck with Z. I feel like they left enough room for Super, because I want to say they directly reference things, but like, if you know Dragon Ball Z lore, they sort of talk around like, you know, different characters. And like, just watching Super and then going back into Z, I could sort of see how they sort of like retconned a lot of things and put things together. And I'd love to see them do some sort of, I'd want to see them do maybe like a DLC introducing some of the Super stuff, but I'd rather them save all of that for its own game. I know there's a couple of like DLCs that they have. They have like a season pass for the game, which I sort of like where the game is, where it's at. So I wouldn't want to see any of like the Super Saiyan Blue stuff or any of like the Tournament of Power stuff. Like, honestly, that should be its own like separate thing. But, you know, I enjoyed my ride. You know, right now I'm still writing up the review to put on the YouTube channel. But coming out of the game, you know, seeing how like the gameplay is really repetitive, and I don't know, like, I felt like the game was really simple to the point where what you're really doing in hour like 10, which like at the beginning of the game is pretty much the same thing you're doing at the end, minus like a couple of like transformations and stuff like that. So the game doesn't really get too deep. There are a couple of like RPG elements that sort of stretch the time of you playing out a little bit. Like enemies have, like levels. So of course, if you're underleveled, they may hit you like really hard, but then of course if you're over leveled, they're hitting you and like you're just standing there. You'll just see like the 1 damage tick every time they hit you. So right now I'm sort of going through all of the side quests at the end of the game. The game really opens up the side quests. Like there's like once I jump back into the the main map, the whole screen was pretty much full of subquests. So I'm sort of going through that. So a lot of the stuff, like I, sort of skimmed over, I could still like go back and do. And like those enemies, like I'm literally walking up to like Raditz and like just punching him and killing him. So,
does it only go up to Kid Buu and that's it?
Yeah, that's where it stops. It stops at Kid Buu.
Oh, okay. Because I know after Kid Buu, that's where the what do you call it? Super starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'd want them to save Super to be its own separate game, and I'd appreciate it. But I mean, all in all, fun game. I enjoyed my time. For a second I was worried that I was gonna come out of this like how Rod was feeling with Days Gone. But just they captured the essence of Dragon Ball Z so well that I could sort of overlook some of the shortcomings.
That's I kind of stepped away from like fighting games because lately or like for the past several years it's more like, to me it's like, oh, same thing over and over again, and it's just like I like before I was saying, it's more like, to me, I'm more like, I like watching movies. So like when I'm captivated with the story of the game, that's when I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
like Rod, what you said, it was like the writing and story is what really, what gets people, right? Was it you or Chris that said that earlier?
It might have been me.
Yeah. So
yeah. I was gonna say, well, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot isn't. And that's the thing. It's not really a fighting game. It's more or less like an action RPG because.
Oh, so it's not a fighting game like the one.
No, yeah, it's single player only. And if the best way to describe it is if you've ever played any of the Dragon Ball Z games on the Game Boy Advance, so like Legacy of Goku, those type of like Dragon Ball RPG games, essentially think that, but like an action RPG.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I thought it's just another fighting game like the was it the Fighter Z but it has their own quests and everything.
It's like I said, it's more open. So that's where I guess I gave it some points back where it's not really a fighter. It's not supposed to be in depth like I was thinking. It's more or less like trying to like put all of these worlds together, like the RPG, action, gameplay, and just like the story of Dragon Ball Z. So, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, I'd say $40 is a really good price point for it. $60 is like, I feel like $60 you would have bought the game already for $60. So if you're sort of like waiting on it, definitely wait for like 40, maybe 30. And at that point, like I said, 40 hours, you're getting a lot of game there. And I feel like 40 hours is like me, not saying I was rushing through, but like I could have definitely like, took some time like doing like extra side quests. I could have took some time, doing some like putting together like the RPG elements. Cause at some point I completely forgot that I had like a menu I could go to and like equip moves and power up moves. Completely forgot about it because at some point in the story, like there's just things that's happening like back to back where you're not really in the overworld as much. You're more or less just like cutscene fight. So, fun stuff. Like I had fun. At the end of the day, that's what it matters.
That's what it matters,
Yeah. And then, my last game I played was Temtem. And yeah, so Temtem is made by, let's see, I have the name up. Made by a developer called Crema. It's published by Humble Bundle. And it's essentially a Pokemon-like game. And like they're clear saying that Temtem is, inspired by Pokemon. Like there's no like, way around it. Like it's a monster collecting game. So Yeah, so
is it on consoles or PC?
Right now, it's in early access. So it's only on PC. You can
gotcha.
get into the early access for around $35. And it's interesting. I'll say that I had fun. I'm having fun with it. It's the game, I guess, just off the jump, has like, when you jump into it, you practically think that, hey, like this is someone's, attempt of making a Pokemon game, but they do a couple of things that are like just a little different, and some things I actually appreciate what they do. Right off the bat, your character creation for the game is a little bit more in depth, like not super in depth, but like a little bit more in depth than Pokemon games. They have like, different type of hairstyles for Black people that you normally don't see in games.
Great.
So that off the bat, I was really excited.
Right.
Having different styles, not even just for Black people, but just for everybody. Like they have different styles. Something else that was really interesting was when you're creating your character, it asks you your pronouns. So it's like he, she, and them. So like this
is definitely an updated kind of like game where it really like trying to, get everybody in the world involved, because now it's more like, when you're dealing with pronouns, it's like, wow, that's a big step when it comes to gaming, because you're actually, identifying that there are more genders than just male or female,
Right,
and that's a good, I think that's a good step.
Yeah, they're taking really big strides. And I mean, this developer, they whenever they get feedback, like they're really active, like on their Twitter and on their Discord. So like they're, answering questions, and like if, things are going wrong, like for example, when the game, opened up for the early access, you'll hear a lot of people talk about just the server issues that the game had. Like immediately they went on the internet and like, saying, hey, like this, that, and the third is being done. We're working on it. And then of course, I think, about 2-3 hours later, people were finally in the game. People were playing. So like just quick responses. That's something that you'd love to see. You'd love to see it when these type of games come out.
Huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you love to see like, quick responses when, these games come out.
Oh yeah. Nothing better than like, a fast customer service.
Yeah. So, getting past, the character creation, you're introduced to like the rival, you're introduced to the, the professor of the game, and like just the writing of the game in general, it's sort of like it has like a different tone. It's not like an adult tone, but the characters are saying stuff that you really wouldn't see in Pokemon. Like at some point, the professor, I think it's the professor, he comes across someone else that he knows that he hasn't seen in a while, and he's like, "Oh, next time I'm in town, we should hit up a pub or something like that." And I was like, "Yo, I like this professor. He's cool. He's cool people." So there's that. The aesthetic of the game is really cool. I know some people really can't get past how some of the Temtem look. For some people it's hit or miss. I know that, the character design for a lot of people, like that's really important. But I honestly, like at this point with like how some of the Pokemon look in like these new generations, like it really just falls down to like, the designs that you like and what you really like, could like pull from it. I'm having fun, I think I'm having fun jumping into a world that I don't really know what's going on. So there's still, type advantages, type disadvantages. So like learning like these new types, which when by new types, like they have stuff like digital, they replace poison with, I think, toxic. There's crystal, which I think is sort of like their steel type. So like things that you've noticed from Pokemon games is in here. So I guess just learning like, which Pokemon have which types, and just like relearning that whole thing is pretty fun for me. And one of the two biggest things is that the battling in this game is all like 2v2. So it's 2v2
That's
throughout
nice.
the whole thing. Then like you'll have some instances where it's like 2v1 with like some of the Temtem that's out in the wild. But there's that, and then in battle, instead of having like each move having its own power points or PP, your Temtem himself, he has like a stamina meter. So each move that you do costs a certain amount of stamina. So you can't like repeatedly like just spam.
Yeah.
You can't spam out powerful moves, and eventually, like, you know, doing so many moves, you'll have to like tell your Temtem to wait a turn to build the stamina back up. So it adds like an extra layer of sort of predicting what the enemy is going to do. There's been certain battles where, like, you know, you can also see your enemy's stamina. So I can see that, hey, the computer is like spamming like this really strong move. He has no stamina this next turn. Let me go ahead and heal some people up. Or let me go ahead and use this as like a time to switch people out. So, you know, just that extra layer of strategy I'm really liking. They removed like their whole random nature of Pokemon of like critical hits. You don't have any critical hits in this game. When it comes down to statuses only last like 2 to maybe 3 turns. And that's it. So, like, you don't have to worry about moves really missing unless there's, like, you know, you're using a move against an enemy that has, like, an ability to stop it.
Wow. So, yeah, I just looked up the picture for the Temtem. I was just like, yeah, that looks like Pokemon, all right. I was like, what's that Temtem? I was like, let me look that up really quick.
Yeah.
I never heard of it. That sounds like a fun game, man. I never really got into, like, Pokemon except the what's it called? Pokken?
Oh, okay.
Is it like Pokemon fighting, like Tekken kind of style?
Yeah.
Now that I like, you know, but as far as the actual Pokemon game, I never really got into Pokemon like that. But I mean, it looks, the Temtem, I saw it, I was like, man, it looks really nice and it's colorful, it's vibrant, you know. That's what gets a lot of people, like the color of it too, you know, the graphics.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, essentially this game is early access. So while playing through it, there's a couple of areas that like literally have like a sign up that says work in progress. So I feel that, you know, going into it, if you're the type of person that, for me, if you're the type of person that was like somewhat disappointed in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I recommend trying this game out. I recommend like giving this a shot. It's adding like that whole next gen console. Getting some feedback. Oh, all right, cool. It is like it's adding like that what I felt would have been that whole next gen, you know, home console feel that Sword and Shield was supposed to have. I feel like this is, you know, I feel like they're adding more to it. They're pushing that forward. So, you know, this isn't going to be the game that, you know, destroys Pokemon. Pokemon isn't on suicide watch or anything like that. Like, no.
Oh my gosh.
Cause you know, you read these articles online about like, once a game starts picking up steam, they're like, oh, is this the Pokemon killer? No, but this is going to be the game that gets Game Freak to, or at least it lets Nintendo give more back to Game Freak so that they could put more into the game. So like competition is really good. So I support Temtem. I hope that, you know, more people pick it up, more people try it out. And hopefully, you know, Game Freak, they see that now that they have competition, they gotta put in a little bit more into these games.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that'll work. Cause I mean, like, you know how, what is that? Kind of like a knockoff of, what do you call that game? The Nintendo game, Smash Brothers. Mm-hmm. They have the, what was that other game?
PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale?
Yeah, no, well, there's other game too.
I think Cartoon Network like, Battle something.
It plays just like the Smash Bros.
I think there's Brawlout. There's,
the Brawl, is that like a Brawlout?
There's another one too that, like, I think now they've added like WWE characters into it. Is that the one that you're talking about?
Is it Brawlout or
Brawlhalla? There we go.
Yeah, Brawlhalla. Yeah. I played that game and it's just like for some reason, like what you were saying earlier, people who didn't like, you know, a certain game that they have like kind of like something like the same thing like that, they might like it, and I actually liked it because for some reason I'm like more in control of my characters for some reason. I don't know why. With Smash Brothers, it's always like I'm always having problem tracking where my guy is, you know. With Brawlhalla, it's different. It's like, oh, like I won more matches there than like me winning against like my friends, with the Smash Brothers. So I think the Temtem would be a really good game when it really comes out,
Yeah. Another cool thing is that I'm playing it on like our super old computer. So, yeah, so like it's not really demanding. Like if I could play it on this old thing, hopefully you guys can too. But, yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got this week.
Perfect.
All right.
I need to get me a freaking PC. I need to get my friend to help me build one. I really want to start streaming on PC stuff, because they have like all these indie games that's like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to like stream it as well. So that's what I'm doing for this year.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the news real quick. Nothing too big that, I feel like we'll have to talk a lot about.
Yeah.
But is it just me getting the feedback?
I hear it too.
I do not hear it. Uh-oh.
Okay. All right. It's good now. Rod, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay,
here
cool.
Too.
Oh, all right. I'm trying. Oh, now it's sort of back.
Do you guys have any electronics near the mic or anything like that?
All right. Are we good now, or is it still there?
Yeah, I think we're good now.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right, so jumping to the news, we don't have anything that's like super deep this week, but some things we do want to talk about for a quick second. There's been rumors that Left 4 Dead 3 is coming out or is being worked on. Valve says otherwise.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw some videos before and I thought it was like, is this Left 4 Dead 3? And then like, I looked at the comments, they're like, people are saying, no, this is not. This is like somebody who made like a trailer for something. It's called, what was it called? Isolation. But it's not the preview for Left 4 Dead 3. So I think it was like, people are like hyping it, but it's like a wrong information thing.
Yeah, and Valve, they officially had to say like it's absolutely not working on Left 4 Dead 3. So I think Valve right now they're more or less focusing on their Half-Life VR game that's coming out.
Exactly.
So
I heard about that one too.
Yeah, maybe a minute before we see anything from Left 4 Dead, but I don't know. It's tugging at my heartstrings. I sort of wish that we were getting, but
a Left 4 Dead 3 game would be so, like, it would be amazing to have that. I remember back then when it came out, I was just like, me and my cousin, my twin brother were playing it, like, after work. We're just like, okay, cool. It's like, let's link up and everything. And, it's amazing. It's just unique, at the time.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Especially when you get the, what is that? The big guy, I don't know, the one that throws rocks, the tank. Yeah. You hear that music. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Here comes the tank, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's really influential in a lot of ways. The director is something that, I've seen other games try to emulate, like with Evolve, and just not do it as well as Left 4 Dead did. And so I would love to see them do this. And the main reason why I think it's just significant is because we've heard things continually, especially over the last like couple years. I feel like they were kind of ramping up, and with Valve actually releasing another game outside of Dota, in a couple months, like people, I guess these rumors started flaring up. The HTC Vive, company, or one of the presidents or the spokesperson, people from there actually was doing a slideshow with this information in there, kind of indicating that it was a possibility. And that's why Valve ended up shutting it all down in the process, because the rumor started getting a little bit out of hand. And just hearing them kind of shut it down indefinitely does suck. So hopefully, like you said, Chris, hopefully they do something about that. in the future at some point. I'm just not gonna get my hopes up since Valve is allergic to the number 3.
I know, right? It's like, can you guys even count or what?
Yeah.
All right, and next up, Overwatch League, Call of Duty League, and Hearthstone eSports. They will air on YouTube now, not on Twitch. It turns out that Overwatch League's their 2-year Twitch deal expired, and for the most part, I think Activision Blizzard, they feel that YouTube has like a higher user count. Right. So they want to jump over to YouTube than stay on Twitch. So what do you guys feel about that?
I mean, can you still stream Overwatch there in Twitch either way?
Well, no. So this is like the official stuff. So like Overwatch League and Call of Duty.
Oh, okay.
So their esports are they're taking it from Twitch and they're exclusively being on YouTube now.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, like, it could be bad or good, but I mean, at least it's like, they're kind of like branching out to a different platform. Mm-hmm. Although YouTube is really big as well, but like, Twitch is more like, how do you say that word? It's kind of like, it's on its own kind of like thing. I forgot that word.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Twitch has like more users, or at least not more users, but like more users who will watch live content. Like I'm known, like I typically know Twitch, and maybe Mike, you could speak a little bit to this better than I could. But like it seems to me that when I think of live anything or streaming, I think of Twitch. I think that they are like the purveyors of this sort of content, and not necessarily YouTube gaming. I think of YouTube gaming more along the lines of like E3, like because Jeff Keighley obviously is like behind that, and he does a whole big thing on YouTube during that time. But other than and maybe like Game Awards, but other than that, like I kind of think of Twitch as the home for this.
It is. They're the ambassador for gaming,
Yeah, like I'm not sure if this correlates to why like the Overwatch League commentators are like really leaving in droves. Like there's a ton of those guys leaving right now. I don't know if you guys have seen that lately, but it's like 4 or maybe 5 like big time commentators like leaving. And it seems like and the reasons cited have all been down to quote unquote creative decisions, and I wonder if this is part of that. And it's not clear to me if it's like a monetary thing or if it's just like, I don't know, if it feels like a sinking ship in terms of viewership. But I mean, the finals, the playoffs in Overwatch League have always drawn like hundreds of thousands of people. I would say just normal matches would hover around 100,000. So yeah, I guess we'll see in a couple of weeks when Overwatch League actually drops. I'm going to watch the first, couple of weeks, or try to consistently anyway, and kind of pay attention to that. But yeah, like I mean, I don't even know how that's going to work with like the token system, because like you have like the tokens that drop when you watch matches. That was connected directly to your Twitch, and now I don't know how that works with YouTube or if it will work. And I guess that explains why they haven't released any season content yet for the league, because that was something that they introduced in the last season, was like, hey, you could pay the like $50-$60 or some down payment, like some huge, not huge, but just some upfront cost to like kind of get like behind the scenes like conferences and like, interviews, exclusive interviews and things like that, like more tokens or whatever. Like you could do a bunch of that stuff, and that was really super integrated into Twitch, and now it's on YouTube. So I'm just not sure how all of that is shaking out. I'm sure they have some sort of plan in place, but whether or not it's going to be like equivalent, or I guess remains to be seen.
Yeah, so we'll definitely see how all of this, unfolds. I think Overwatch League, I think like you said, it's coming out in the next like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
first matches start. Yeah,
I mean, you never know what's gonna happen to like a really, when that time comes. So, I just hope everything will get situated, because us gamers, it's more like we only have like one major platform, which is Twitch, and it's like, we want to like, it's like a big niche, but it's like same time it's kind of like it's the kind of niche we have to like, kind of protect because it's the only thing that connects a lot of people when it comes to us like gamers. It's like hoping that they're not gonna sever the ties with like other gamers what I mean by that is like like what you guys talking about like tokens and everything like is that gonna be a problem later on? If it's gonna be a problem, then a lot of people are gonna be like, oh no, what happened? Like because a lot of people sometimes don't like change, and it's been proven that sometimes when things change, things evolve, you don't know if it's for the best or for the good. And sometimes, it's, equal to that.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see. I don't think Twitch is going to be hurting. Like, we sort of talked about it last week with Day-to-Day Bond. Twitch has like the biggest piece of the pie. Like they have the most market share out there for streaming platforms. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that shifts with, the Call of Duty League, with Overwatch League and, Hearthstone moving over to YouTube. I'm honestly surprised that they did the YouTube thing. Like, you would think that Microsoft would have threw in a lot of money to try and get that on Mixer.
I mean, is the Mixer, are there like people now like going to Mixers as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mixer. I feel like you hear a lot of people talk about Mixer. You hear a lot of people talk about Caffeine. Facebook gaming is in like some
Facebook gaming is kind of getting there.
Yeah, it's
a lot of like bigger names are like are moving there too, because I've been seeing a lot of ads about it. They're like, oh, I'm here on Facebook gaming. You guys should join here now. It's like, wow. It's like, I mean, I guess that's good. That's becoming kind of like like I said, they're branching out, but like the only strong platforms are the ones that are going to survive either way, pretty much.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see what happens. And of course, this is going to be a evolving story. So guys, let us know in the comments what you think about, Overwatch League jumping over to YouTube. And also, are you sad? Are you sad that Left 4 Dead 3 isn't coming out? But let us know in the comments. Let us know, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let us know. Let's talk. Let's chat. So we're going to go ahead and finish up the episode today, and we're going to talk about some Resident Evil.
Nice.
We've been talking, I feel like we've been talking about it most of the show, so we're sort of building up to this topic. But just to, paint this picture, I feel like the Resident Evil remakes, they've sort of put Capcom in a really good place. Some would say Capcom is back on track at this point now. So I sort of want to, open up the floor. Let's talk about what they've done with these remakes, what we want to see them do with, of course, Resident Evil 3 coming up, and, what franchise would we want to see Capcom revive next? So, I guess let's start it off with like, how do you guys feel about just Capcom in general? Do you think that, they caught on to something and like now they're just taking it and running with it? Like, how do you guys feel?
I think they caught on to something and they're running with it right now, which I hope they keep it this way because, you can see they're, people loving them right now. It's like they're giving people, the gamers, the players, what they want. And, it's been proven that they've been successful since we're making some of the stuff.
So, Mike, you being, a Resident Evil fan, what is it about these remakes that, has like, I don't even know if it's like reignited the fire for Resident Evil for you, but like, what is it about these remakes that make them so good that like you're essentially still playing through the same game, but just with a fresh paint of coat on it? Like, what are these remakes doing for you?
Well, first of all, it has that nostalgic feeling. Like, it's like, okay, back then you played the original ones, they're like polygons or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like seeing it in a new way, and more detailed and like more facial expression, more like better graphics and voice acting, and the story. They kind of changed it a little bit to where it's like it didn't have to change it a little bit, but they changed it a little bit for just so it can what do you call it, live up to like the new modern era right now. You know, they're kind of like making it a little bit more down to earth kind of thing. And that's why a lot of people back then are like, oh, like, you know, they kind of changed some stuff. I'm like, you know, I like the Leon from Resident Evil 4, but I'm like, but yeah, this is like Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 2. You guys understand that some people are getting it confused sometimes. I'm like, some people didn't like their face design, but it's like, to me, it's more like, you can connect with them more because it's like, they're not like, oh, celebrity stars' faces. It's more like, you know, regular people face. But the design are like amazing because it's more like down to earth kind of thing. Like I say, you can connect with them, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that like I was reading some people were like upset that they changed, what's that, Jill's outfit?
Yeah, that again, I hate when people are like, you know, I hate is like such a strong word, but sometimes people just gotta understand. It's like, you have to be realistic. That's what they're trying to make it like realistic. Are you really gonna go out there and like be in your skirt and like fighting, you know, zombies and these weird creatures? I'm like, come on, you know, it's like being realistic. If there's a zombie out there, I'm not gonna go out there in shorts. I'm gonna go out there in jeans, you know? It's same kind of like thing. Well, what's, you know, the Capcom are the developer trying to do, you know, they're just making it down to earth so that way it's grounded, you know?
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I definitely don't agree with like any of the complaints about that outfit because they're adjusting to the times. Like, I mean, it's obviously, you know, you have a lot more eyes on the industry, thankfully, like a lot more different voices who have the say as both as developers and as fans. And you know, I think what they've done is a really, like you said, Mike, I mean, it's a grounded take on it. But not only grounded, but just like just a more reasonable take, I think. You know, that was a time in the late 90s when like games were selling based off like titillation alone. And not necessarily, you know, oh, let's make a great character first. It's just like, you know, obviously let's make something that was appealing to young boys. And you know, that worked back then, but now not so much. And so
Exactly, because time changes, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. So I actually really love the redesign. I think it's kick ass.
I think the redesign. You guys seen the gameplay, right? Like the preview of the gameplay, just a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when she was like running, like through the alleys and everything. I don't know. For some reason, I've been telling people about this. Even like Resident Evil groups on Facebooks. She moves just like Alice from Resident Evil movies. Like. What's her name? The actress. And there's some point in there, the way her hair is, her face, she kind of reminds me of Alice, you know, from, Resident Evil movies. Mila Jovovich or Jovovich?
Oh, yes, Mila Jovovich, yeah.
Yeah, the way she was like running and then like have her hand like that with a gun pointing down like that, I was like, that's Mila Jovovich, like right there running. So I've seen her like run like that in movies, you know.
Right.
So that I love it. I'm not complaining. And it's like, oh, that's even better because I have a big crush on Mila Jovovich, you know. So
yeah.
All right. So I guess we just talk about Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 3, I feel like for a lot of people, because I think Rod, you said this earlier in the show. There's a Resident Evil that's pre-Resident Evil 4, and then Resident Evil that's post-4. So if you don't know, Resident Evil 4 was that first Resident Evil that made it more of like a third-person action
over the shoulder thing,
over the shoulder type of game, as opposed to like the more adventure, like top-down isometric type of thing.
Right.
From
fixed camera angles,
fixed camera angles and everything. So with 3, I think what this remake is like, it sort of merging the two worlds together, I guess. It's, even though it's still like that third person, I think that out of all of like the older games, I always felt that Resident Evil 3 was more of like the action game.
It is. That's even what they said, even back then and then now as well. It's crazy because it's like, wow, it's like how it is back then, you know? They said the same thing, almost the same thing, because yeah, we promised that Resident Evil 3 is going to have more action back, and they're saying the same thing. I was like, wow, are they doing this on purpose or intentionally or what? You know? But it's, you know, because it's always going to be more action packed because there's always going to be, you're going to be out there more in the city than like how it is in Resident Evil 2. It does feel, the only thing I felt about the remake for 2, it's just a little bit tad more isolated, but the isolation is part of the whole thing because it's like you're trapped inside the police station and everything. You can't go outside because there's a lot of zombies. Because the main focus of Resident Evil 2 is in the police station and the secret laboratories and everything. But with Resident Evil 3, it's like, boom, you're out there in the city, you're out there with the other, Umbrella Corporation soldiers and everything. You're helping each other out, and you're just out there.
Yeah.
What do you call it? With Resident Evil 2, like I said, it's more like tight, and you're like kind of just stuck there. And that's what they said too. That's what the developer said, that with Resident Evil 3, they said they're not really gonna use like almost like, I forgot what they were saying, but they said they're not gonna use like the same kind of like almost like design as far as like the setting. So that's why they're gonna expand more on like the city. But it's not gonna be open world. I'm not saying it's gonna be open world.
Right. Yeah, I was just seeing something about that the other day. Cause I was actually, as I was playing Resident Evil 2, I was like, I want some more info on 3. Like what's going on there? Cause obviously that's the whole Nemesis thing. And I actually thought it was interesting that Mr. X he's a Resident Evil 2 remake original, right? Or was he in the actual game, the classic game?
Yeah, the Resident Evil 2. Mr. X came out in Resident Evil 2. The Resident Evil 1 was Tyrant. The first one ever made, and then
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
2 was more like Mr. X is more like a little bit more dated and controllable.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, cuz I was like I was not sure. I don't know if I'd ever heard of Mr. X in the prior, like the original game. So I was under the impression he was an original creation, but that's cool to find that like he's just an updated version of something that already existed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cause I was like, man, like doing something like this in the remake and then going to 3 with Nemesis is almost like, almost redundant in a way, because it's like, this is Nemesis almost, like in the same sense of like something chasing you. I don't know if I've played a lot of 3, so like I know about it, though. I know like Nemesis is the constant that is always chasing you.
It is the constant, and what they said is that the Nemesis AI will be much better than the Mr. X AI in Resident Evil 2 remake. So you could say that expect a lot more Kool-Aiding,
Okay.
from that, because like, if you played the original 3, he was just like Kool-Aiding everywhere. Like, the dude, you know what I mean by Kool-Aiding? Like, Mr. Kool-Aid, right? Just break down brick walls and like, oh my god. I mean, yeah. Oh my god. I remember buying that game back then. It was amazing. We were playing it on PlayStation 2 and I had it on Dreamcast. So, it's amazing.
I just I had my first Mr. X experience last night, and
I was about to ask about that, but I was like, I'm gonna save it later.
Yeah. So now that you just said that he was just Kool-Aiding everywhere, and now I have that mental image in my head, it's much less terrifying now. So thank you.
Also, there were PC mods turning him into Kool-Aid Man, right?
Yeah, they did, and they have it as Chris Redfield as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's funny.
What do you call it? Oh, and with Nemesis, he can run. He'll not run, but like he'll literally well, I guess running. There's another word for running, but
Okay.
he'll run towards you, not like Mr. X is just walking. When Mr. X steps, it's just like already scaring me. I'm like, man, like you get Nemesis right there running towards me. That's even worse, you know?
Yeah. Genuine question about just the franchise in general. Do you enjoy the stories in these things?
I do.
You do? Okay.
That's what got me, because I mean, I love like scientific stuff like that, like conspiracies and everything. So it's like, oh wow, there's a lab beneath the city and they're like experimenting on people, you know, so it's like the whole city is just an experiment place.
Okay.
I don't know, but I just am so drawn into like the story about it. It's just like, that's why even though people hated Resident Evil 6, I still played it. I think it was an amazing game. You played like 4 characters in that game, and it's like, that's worth your money, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I just love how the game story progressed, and I'm just like, wow, that's really amazing, you know?
Yeah. The reason why I asked is just because like when I hear from Resident Evil like hardcore fans, like they always love this, like they cannot get enough of the story, and I just don't get it, I guess. Like I'm just not like on that train. Like it's okay. It seems fine, but like, you know, it's kind of campy, like in that way, kind of like in that B movie way. And so, but people like who love Resident Evil love the stories.
Yeah, because that's the whole point of the whole game. It's like how, you know, it's like, okay, how is this gonna progress? Like, so you have like these people, like the first in the mansion, you know, you have these units, stars, and Alpha and Bravo team went in there to search for some like problem, and because they've been having sightings of like creatures and like zombies or whatever. So the Bravo team got there first, and then the Alpha team got there second. The way the story progressed, it's like, man, it's like, who knew that their captain is like one of the leading Umbrella, like, you know, scientists, you know, Wesker was a scientist, and then the other one was William Birkin. Him and William Birkin were like good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So at Resident Evil 2, they broke up because they didn't like each other's views, you know. So that's what happened with you know. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you for the 2. So
Okay.
But yeah, it's more like the scientific parts when you're liking the Resident Evil, because it's like it's evolution. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think like overall mystery. I think that's what gets you, right?
It is. Yeah. And that's why at least I'm hoping that, you know, the Resident Evil 7 is good too, but I just wish that they would like not go towards paranormal. Kinda, you know, like a path for it. You know, I just want to keep it like scientific, you know, so, you know, you get a virus and stuff like that, and, you know, having that paranormal stuff in Resident Evil 7 is kind of like, kind of throws me a little bit, like, just a little bit, you know, but hopefully they'll fix that with 8.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Zombies cool, ghosts a step too far.
Yeah. To me, as maybe this is like a good timing to say, because there's a lot of like stuff going on in China right now, but like the virus and everything. But I'm very like drawn into like the whole like pandemic, like epidemic stuff, like virus. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna throw virus out there, but just like just the way how it works. Just like, man, people get infected, they turn like this, and next you know, other people get infected. You know, it's just the way about it. You know.
So you must have played a lot of Plague Inc.
The what?
Plague Inc. Have you played that? It's essentially a game that's just built around like taking some sort of like disease, virus, starting in a country.
I've heard about that. I've never played it. I've heard about it. That would be cool.
I feel like you'd love that game.
I would like that.
That's
like,
literally the game.
Virus right here in Asia, right?
It's literally the game. You choose some, where you want to start the plague, whether or not it's like, pass through the water, through the air, through animals, and like, if you put it in a country that, exports a lot, then you'll start seeing, the plague, spread faster. So
yeah, so it's kind of like that when it comes to like Resident Evil, because I'm seeing like, man, these people conspired to like, put this virus right there in the city and just like let it spread out, and just like it's a testing ground pretty much, the whole city. And that's what happened in Resident Evil series, That's why I love it, If you guys haven't seen the movies of it, the actual game, not the live action, but CGI movies. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
Mm-mm.
So you have Resident Evil Degeneration with Leon
I have
Kennedy.
heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one's really good. It's with Leon Kennedy and Claire. You have the next one is Resident Evil Damnation, which is with Leon Kennedy in Russia, and Resident Evil. What is it? Resident Evil Vendetta with Leon and Chris Redfield together. So those are really great movies. So I suggest you guys watch it too. For you guys listening, if you haven't watched that, I suggest you guys watching that. Out of the whole three, I suggest watching Damnation. Damnation. So
how do you feel about just the Resident Evil spin-offs that has come out over the years? Like, of all of them, what's your favorite?
Which spin-off? Like,
so like how there was like Mercenaries, there was
Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah, stuff like that. What was the last one that came out that I'm trying to remember the name.
I know what you're talking about. Resident Evil
Raccoon City Survivors or some shit.
It's something like that, where like it's like was it like 4v1 or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you play the spin-offs like those?
I've played the Raccoon City Operation, or Operation Raccoon City. It's good to see a different perspective from like not just like the main characters, but you get to be the enemy. I was like, okay, we're like the Umbrella, people, so we're gonna do this, and it's good to see like different perspective from it. I played the Revelations. I don't know if you guys played Revelations. They're good, I guess spin-off, but it's kind of like canon to the story. Okay. So the Revelations 2 goes around with Claire Redfield, and Barry Barton is the guy that's with Jill Valentine in the mansion. So his daughter is with Claire Redfield at that time. They got kidnapped some island. And so you get to play Barry Barton and Claire Redfield as well. So it's pretty nice. All right. So I don't know if you guys played that before, but I suggest you guys play those things.
I've heard good things about those. I just haven't had a chance to play the Revelation games. But I mean, I've heard like great things about them.
Sounds like we got some Resident Evil homework.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys right now, it's amazing. I never played the Dead Aim. That was like a older spin-off, or Resident Evil Gaiden is just like, the graphic is kind of like, I just watch people play it just so you see the story from it, because it does help the story progress the story a little bit better. But they're just spin-offs. Although I want them to remake Resident Evil Code Veronica.
That's a popular one. Yeah,
that's what I want them to remake after.
That was the Dreamcast one, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess we could I'll ask two more questions. So I guess that's sort of like leaning towards the first one. Were there any other Resident Evil games that you'd like to see, be brought back, or like have like the remastered treatment? Because we sort of talked about it before with Resident Evil 4, and how you said that there's a split in the user base where some people think that 4 is fine the way it is. Some people like me throw my money at the screen. We're like, yo, we'll take it. Besides, 4 and like 5 and 6, anything else?
Code Veronica.
Okay.
Code Veronica. I wish they would remake that one. Even the game is like still pretty good. You can download it on PlayStation Network as well. It just got a little bit better graphics, but it's not like the best out there. It's still pretty good. And I think after that they should like head on to 8, But if they really want to do 4, I mean, I can't complain. But I mean, I just want the story to progress, not get stuck on remakes, Like I said, I would want to see Code Veronica remake, and then after that, they should start with 8,
Well, wasn't 7 like a reboot? So I was confused about the end of that game. Not to spoil the ending of 7, but like the game itself sort of felt like it was like a retelling or like a reboot of just the universe.
There's still a lot of mysteries around that because there's still people out there that's like, I don't think that's Chris Redfield like for real because he's with Umbrella. The whole Umbrella thing is like there's still little information to know because first of all that's like. I guess Resident Evil 7 is more like how Resident Evil 4 started back then. I was like, oh, are they going to start doing like first person view now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not bad, but like, I don't think they should go with the first person view with Resident Evil because, I think they should just keep either, over the shoulder or they could go back fixed camera angles. That would be amazing. But a lot of people would love that, trust me. But if they don't want to do fixed camera, then just keep it like over the shoulder because I think the remake for second and third one is kind of like Capcom saying, okay, do they really want like over the shoulder because it's working really good.
Yeah.
You have more things you can add on to over the shoulder than just first person. You have more stuff you can do with it, and it's more appealing to players.
Yeah, I mean that to me is the bigger question. Rather than like are they going to make an 8? I mean, I think it's inevitable they'll do 8. 7 did really really well for them financially and critically. So I think the bigger question is like what gameplay style do they go from here? Do they do the remake type of thing where they're melting both eras of Resident Evil? Are they going to go strictly action, strictly exploration, or are they going to go off of 7 and continue down the VR route? That's the real question to me.
That's what I want. I need me another VR Resident Evil game.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the VR is really amazing with the Resident Evil 7. I was scared shitless when I was playing that my first go around. I hope that I guess they can put an option, hopefully, but I would want them to really stay into, third person view. And a lot of people are speculating that it might be over the shoulder because of how they're doing second and third, and it's how it's very appealing to everybody. I think, like I said, 7 was more like an experimental thing. With 7, that's how they got the RE engine.
Mm-hmm.
They developed that with the RE engine, and you see a lot of stuff in there that carried over to Remake 2, like as far as like, some of the graphics and just like how they're cutting like the tapes and everything, it carried over there. So, like I said, I think 7 was just an experimental thing. So I'm hoping that 8 would be like, something in between. Maybe you can have an option of third person view or first person view for VR. But I think the most important question is who are they gonna pick for characters,
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did something where, like, if you played with one character, you get first person, but then if you play with another character, it's a third person. Or would that be too much? You think fans wouldn't like that?
I think that'll be too much. They just wanna, I mean, if they just have an option that you can unlock or something, that'll be cool. But as far as like the main kind of thing, I think they should just like I said, just stick with the over the shoulder, because I mean, first person is kind of like, Resident Evil never really, even though that was the first design back then by the guy who developed Resident Evil back then. I keep forgetting some of the names.
Yeah,
he planned out that it was going to be like a first person view, but because back then the technology wasn't like that great, they could only do fixed camera angles. And that's the reason, Resident Evil became big, because it was like unique on its own. It's like, oh, nobody did like a fixed camera angle like that. And it builds up to suspense because you don't know what's going to be in the next corner. That became the whole thing about Resident Evil. It's like unpredictability. You never know. It's going to be like, oh shit, there's like hunters there, or a zombie there, or Nemesis there, So I don't think they're going to go as far as like fixed camera angles, but I believe that they're fixating on like
third person.
The over the shoulder thing, because it's like I said, you can do a lot of stuff like that. You can put so much details into it, Because as a gamer, I think I like seeing who you're playing as, That's just me.
I feel like you'll feel more for the character, more or less. Like you're becoming the character, I guess.
Yeah, because you can put more details. It's like, oh, like you could tell their character's health is like bad because that person's like bleeding everywhere. I mean, you see that in hand as Resident Evil 7, but like you're seeing the whole like person. It's like I want to see that. It
pulls you in a little bit more.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah. It connects with people more. So
all right. Yeah, so I feel like Resident Evil 3 Resident Evil 3 is in a really good place. Capcom is in a really good place. It's out this April, right around the corner. We'll be here before we know it. But that's what we got this week. Mike, once again, well, I appreciate you for coming on, talking, sharing your Resident Evil knowledge with us. Because
let me have one more thing really quick. I'm hoping that Capcom would do Dino Crisis remake. By the way, that would be amazing. There's been rumors, so
yeah, there have
back then when they said rumors about Resident Evil remake, we had Resident Evil remake, right?
True.
They have rumors now about Dino Crisis, so we'll see.
Right. That would be dope. I feel like Capcom, they might have a thing right now with recapturing, like, nostalgia. So, shoot, if they're going to do that, Capcom, I want my Mega Man Battle Network. A man could dream.
Hey,
want me a Mega Man Battle Network. But yeah, once again, Mike, thank you for jumping on this episode. Once again, you can catch Mike on his Twitch channel, Mikey_Poo. You also do. All right, go ahead and plug your stuff, man. What you got? What you wanna promo right now?
I'm going to Pancakes and Booze in Fright Depot in Atlanta, Georgia. March 27 is the day, so it'll be like at 7 p.m. Okay. I'm gonna showcasing like 3 big paintings, I'm hoping. And selling some other stuff like stickers or whatever there. So as far as like art, yeah, that's what I'm having right now. And for gaming, I trying to get back into streaming as well, hoping I'm get a better laptop so I can stream in an actual OBS, not just PS4. So I'm not limited for it, So yeah.
Yeah, and definitely check out your artwork. It's amazing. It's really good. Great stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Rod, what you got for us, man?
3 things. Number 1, yes, check out all of Mike's content. His drawings truly are amazing.
Thank you.
Also, if you do go check him out, whether it's online or in person, go ahead and tell him, should I play that, sent ya. And also, if you want to support us, please leave us a rating or a comment in iTunes. That really helps us out a lot. We are gathering more of those, and it is really nice. So thank you guys for listening.
Yep. So with that, as episode 49, guys, listen, be nice to people, drink more water, and just, enjoy life. Like, take every day as like, a new challenge, and just go with it. Just do it.
Agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
You got to ask yourself, are you a different animal or the same beast?